This right here, this is the reason why people quit painting with watercolors. And this right here, this is just with a few simple changes after I understood the techniques, the tools, and equipment. If you've ever sat down and thought, why does my painting look like mud? Why is my paper bending? How come what I'm thinking up here just isn't translating to down here, down on my paper? Maybe I'm just not that creative like I thought I was. Well, friend, I've had those similar thoughts too. You are not alone. And in this video, I want to prove to you that once you understand the tools, technique, and equipment of watercolor painting, you're going to throw away less and paint more and actually enjoy it. If we haven't yet met, my name is Rachel. I'm the owner and artist behind Mercy Creates, a watercolor business that creates paintings and products to help you have Christ-centered conversations in your home. I have a background in graphic design and marketing, so I not only like to create art, I like to sell it too. And I want to help you sell and create better art. So here's my hot take: watercolor painting isn't difficult, it's just misunderstood. There are a lot of step by step videos out there that are saying, copy my painting. This is what you can do in 5 simple steps. This is the step by step process to be able to get this floral wreath. I mean, I know I'm making some of those videos myself. But what those videos don't tell you is how to properly mix your colors, how much water to put onto the paper, or give you an understanding of why your paper is bending and buckling and warping. When you better understand the tools and equipment and techniques of watercolor painting, you're going to throw away less, your confidence is going to grow, and your paintings are going to get better and better. I can promise you that. You wouldn't start cutting hair and calling yourself a hairstylist by using safety scissors or kitchen shears to trim hair. It's just not going to be the same result. And I don't know how many clients you're going to book, but I'm pretty sure it's probably going to be like 0. That's why I believe it's really important to understand the tools and techniques first before you really start going into those step by step paint with me projects and workshops and classes. So the first thing I want to cover today and just kind of show you the difference is within brushes. Brushes are the main utility tool of watercolor painting. You can probably do watercolor painting with some other tools, but by and large, it's probably going to be with a brush. So here's the first brush that I'm going to show you. This brush right here, it's a round brush, a Velvet 12 brush, one of my fancier, bougier watercolor brushes. Now, you don't necessarily have to have that type of brush to start painting. There is a difference when you get to cheaper brushes and more expensive brushes. I'll try and cover that a little bit later, but for right now, I just want you to see that a round brush is going to be different than a flat brush. Now, this is one of my cheaper, less expensive flat brushes that I got from Michael. Now, there is a big difference between these two brushes besides the shape of the bristles. I'm going to show you what they are. With the round brush, this is your best tool for anything that you want to show or paint, giving that organic, flowing, loose, illustrative style, just like with florals, with skies, clouds, seas. This is your go-to brush. It holds a lot of water, and as you can see, it tapers to that point. So when you push it down on the paper and you let go, there's a technique that I teach in watercolor foundations where it's you press down firm and then you lift up, and then you press down firm and then you lift up. It's a soft, hard type of technique in holding and pushing your brush down on the paper. With that technique, you can do petals, you can do leaves, you can even do some lettering with it. Now with your flat brush, this one is going to be best for those washes and those large amounts of paint that you want to have, like a sukat. Now this flat brush right here, this one is going to be best for those large washes of paper and making sure that the color and the water is evenly painted throughout. Think of skies, think of landscapes, think of seascapes, think of buildings, architecture, stuff like that. It's going to be your best tool for that type of subject matter. As you can see, the bristles all come to a straight line. So it's going to give you that flat placement of color and water across your paper. Now, the frustration really comes in when you're trying to paint a certain type of subject matter and you're using the wrong brush. Like I mentioned before, the round brush is best for those watercolor florals for organic and loose shapes, and the flat brush is best for the skyscapes and sea scenes and mountains and landscapes. If you try to paint a sky scene, and it is doable, but if you try to paint it with your round brush, you're going to notice that it's a little bit splotchier. There's not an even color of paint going through. And if you're trying to paint a flower with the flat brush, you're going to notice that your petals really come to that hard edge. It's going to look more rectangular in shape. You're not going to be able to get that nice pointed petal tip at the end of it. And that's the biggest disconnect that I see with people who are just starting out with watercolor painting, that they're not understanding the brushes, a round brush and a flat brush. And I hope that as you've been watching and seeing these demonstrations, you can start to see how, yeah, I do understand this brush now. I do understand this tool a little bit better. And that's why my paintings aren't necessarily coming out the way that I thought they would. But now I know what to do differently. Now, like I mentioned before, there is a difference with the cheaper brushes and the more expensive brushes. You're going to notice that in how much water and paint and saturation that the brush is going to be holding, and even with the application on the paper. The cheaper brushes don't hold as much water or as much paint, so you'll notice that sometimes the water just kind of dissolves a little bit on the paper. It's a weird type of phenomena. I'm not really sure how to describe it, but I notice a huge difference when I get to the more expensive brushes and I lay the water down and it's just puddle. All the water's on there. I'm not seeing like this little divot or curve of where the water should be, but it's not. My advice to you is to don't settle for those cheaper brushes, but have a couple of them on hand for when you need to start scrubbing or lifting, or you want to try a new technique and maybe just cut the bristles a little bit. The cheaper brushes do have a place in your toolbox, but if you're really serious about watercolor painting, definitely purchase some nicer brushes. And if you want to see what I recommend to all watercolor artists and what I even use with my paintings, I have a free download down in the description below of a watercolor toolkit. It has my favorite paintings, papers, tools, brushes, anything and everything that I use in the studio. You have a list of it and all the links to it. So go ahead and click that link below and you can download it. I'm glad you joined me for this video, and I hope that it makes sense and you understand that, yeah, maybe it is the tools, maybe it is the technique, maybe I'm not the problem, but my brushes. Thanks again for joining me, and I'll see you in the next video.